Hi, I'm Megan. Welcome to today's live reading of Twisted Eros by Aria Skylar, presented by Itsy Bitsy Book Bits. Join me. Chapter 1. Okay, how about handcuffs? Kay made a face that she was grateful her sister couldn't see. No, she shouted so she could be heard in the next room. Leather straps? No. Silk ties? Forget it, Grace. Kay stared at the mountain of clothes on her bed, a monument of female business chic. In sensible grays, blues, and beige, not one article exclaimed, sexy. The point of this is to try something new. The point is, it's my vacation. If I have no choice about having to take one, then I will choose how I spend it. I know what I like. Kay shoved the mountain onto the floor. At least I used to, she muttered to herself. It was my idea. Ideas are a dime a dozen without action. Yes, Mom, Grace said dryly, which was funny because Kay was the youngest of her sisters. Well, Mom had some good sayings, Kay admitted, doing her duty to their deceased matriarch. She set the overly full shopping bag she had her assistant run over onto the newly cleared bed. There had to be something sexy in here she could live with. She pulled out the items from the bag, hangers and all, and transferred them to the bar in her closet. So no typing up of any type? So no tying up of any type. Again, not interested and not the point. She selected the first piece of lingerie and tried it on. It just sounds like it would hurt, with the friction. Ball gag? Now you're just messing with me. Kay sighed as she adjusted the final strap on the outfit and slipped the accompanying black sheer wrap around her shoulders. She looked at herself in the floor-to-ceiling length mirror. I swear to God, it's on here, Grace said, her voice getting louder as she came into the bedroom. She paused in the doorway, packet of forms in hand, tapping a blank space on the form with the end of her pen. Kay turned so that Grace could get a good look at the full-length black lingerie slip, complete with knee socks and garters. That looks nice. Kay twirled, enjoying the feel of the silky, barely there fabric on her skin. But when she took a second look at her shorter, curvy body reflected in the mirror, I'm having second thoughts. Immediately, she ducked back into her walk-in closet to try on the next lingerie set. Her assistant had basically brought her this season's new line, and she only had time to try on half of it. Instead of going back out into the living room, Grace settled on Kay's bed. So, no to the ball gag. No to the ball gag, Kay agreed, sliding her closet door partly closed. She decided to try on the purple one next. That just leaves blindfolding. She heard Grace ruffling through the thick packet. What a waste of paper. Kay rolled her eyes. I can't believe they asked so many questions. I've done real estate deals with less paperwork. Yeah, Grace said thoughtfully. What else? Kay prompted. Wait a sec. Grace went silent. Kay tried and failed to check her impatience. It wasn't that she couldn't change in front of her sister, but this was more about mentally preparing herself than anything else. She hated not being able to see her. That was usually when bad things happened. Grace, what are you doing? Reading. Suddenly, Kay realized what that meant. Don't read it. Wiggling her hips, Kay wrenched the equally sheer fabric of the purple set to cover her into decency before she bolted from the closet. She attempted to snatch the papers back from her intrusive sister. Grace laughed. With a toss of her curly, beautiful mane of dark hair, she dashed back into the living room. Kay, being much shorter of leg than her ballerina-built sister, who could have also played basketball, could not catch up, as the chase took them all the way to the opposite side of her cream-colored lounger and matching chairs. Oh, you're kidding me, Grace crowed. Tall, dark hair, muscular, must wear a mask at all times. Grace! Kay dove around the right of the sofa. Grace had the audacity to let her catch up, only to hold the packet high over her head and clearly out of reach of the much shorter sister. Tell me, why the mask? Grace stared. Kay immediately tired of the childish game, crossing her arms over her chest. She nailed her sister with her most authoritative imitation of their mother. Give that back to me now. Grace made a prissy face, fanning herself with the papers like a Southern belle. I believe I asked Madam Chairwoman a question. Kay sighed. I don't want this getting personal. That's obvious. Grace fluttered her eyelashes over the top of her makeshift fan. Kay could not believe she was being forced to admit this. It's a fantasy of mine, and it's none of your business. Grace's eyebrows rose, and she flipped open the packet to the offending passage. Mask, blindfolds. What exactly are you into? Does he have to play the pipe organ too while he's plugging your pipe? She said the last bit while thrusting her hips suggestively. Fine, forget it. I'm not going. I have too much work to do anyway. Kay turned to retreat back into the safety of her bedroom. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Here, I'll stop. See? Kay, come on. Grace attempted to step in front of her sister, but the younger woman flitted around her, keeping her nose firmly up in the air. Undeterred, Grace followed her. Just as she crossed the threshold, Kay wheeled around to grab the door. Don't come in here. I'm changing again. Oh my God, Kay, I'm your sister. We used to take baths together. She whined through the door. You're taking this too seriously. Kay sighed. Relenting, she opened the door before pulling the rest of the purple ensemble from the closet. It's not that. I wasn't entirely sold on this idea anyway. The BDSM? Grace asked, plopping down on the white bedspread as if she owned the place. Kay half-heartedly shrugged. No, that sounds interesting. The vacation. With the London deal and everything. Kay glared at the lingerie and all the bad ideas they represented. Let's just call it off. I mean, I've got too much to do. Grace laid the packet out on the bed, pulling the pen out of her hair. No, Kay, you have to. You have to do this. Technically, I don't, Kay pointed out, deciding to forgo the purple one and go for the white nightgown instead. Her sister snorted. Technically, you do. You have to take a month-long vacation. When Cleo and I talked to you about it, when you assaulted me, Kay cut in, hanging the purple one up properly. It was for your own good, Grace replied airily. So you staged an intervention. Kay's question would have been more cutting if she hadn't pulled the cool white fabric over her head, muffling her words. You need more than 2 people for an intervention. Kay shook her head. The whole office was watching. I was mortified. She liked this nightgown with its diaphanous bodice that hugged her satisfyingly ample bosoms and puddled to the floor in a pleat of creamy fabric, elegant and sensual. Well, you never go home, Grace exclaimed with clear exasperation. If Cleo hadn't told me you had a sleeper bed installed in your office. I don't know which sister is more treacherous, you or Cleo, Kay said as she exited the closet. Oh, now that looks nice. Immediately, Kay had second thoughts. You don't think it's too Disney princess? Grace shook her head empathetically. No, it's pretty. I'd wear that. You think he'll like it? That got her a raised eyebrow. What? What? Kay asked a little defensively. That's a strange question. Are you asking if the man whore we got you is going to like your naughty outfits? Kay threw up her hands. Grace! That earned her a sigh and a pitying shake of the head. Okay, Mom really messed you up when it comes to relationships. Seriously, he is paid to like you. If you want to wear sweatpants and eat in bed, he's still going to like you. You're not responsible for getting him to like you. That's the point. This is about you doing the things that make you happy. Grace set a hand on Kay's bare arm. Each of her sister's words plucked another string inside her chest, playing a song she didn't want to hear. Abruptly, Kay shook her sister's hand off and went back into the closet. Did Cleo land in London all right? Her sister sighed. Yes, and Zephyr is at the office. He'll be calling in to support her. It's all going to be fine. Kay's chest tightened. She rushed to the living room in search of her cell phone, no longer concerned with filling her silver suitcase. No, it won't. That's the problem with you two. You always assume everything just magically works out. All the while, it's me behind the scenes making it all happen. In a quick move, Grace blocked Kay's exit. Or, alternatively, you need to let go so that Cleo and I can prove to you that the world doesn't end just because you aren't there to fix it. Crap. Kay was proving Grace's point for her. Fine, she relented, throwing her hands up. Grace eyed her distrustfully. So you are going, then? Because Cleo and I pretty much shelled out. Realizing what she was about to say, she changed course, sliding her dazzling beauty pageant smile back into place, the one that never reached her eyes. Never mind. Don't worry about it. But we did do a lot. But we did a lot to make this happen for you. You need this. This self-imposed exile/drought has to end. Kay wasn't really listening. Instead, she sat on the edge of her bed, staring at the mound of discarded clothing that now represented her entire life. Maybe some people aren't meant to find someone. That is an option too. This isn't about finding someone, Kay, Grace said, rolling her eyes. This is not a romance story. This is about getting you out of the rut you've been stuck in for too long. That's easy for you to say. Kay stood, this time to fetch her barely packed suitcase to lay it upon the bed. No, it wasn't, which is why I'm being brave and saying it now. Living at work is not the answer. Trying to become mom is not the answer. Kay folded several of the lingerie sets and placed them in the suitcase, pointedly avoiding her sister's heated gaze. Grace grabbed the lingerie from Kay's hand, forcing her to meet her eyes. Please acknowledge that you are hearing me. Okay, Kay conceded. Grace didn't seem convinced. Look, we can still just send you to Cancun or something if you'd rather take a more conventional vacation. We'll just hire a couple of hot male servants complete with palm fronds. As she returned to her task, Kay shook her head. No, I don't want that. Look, I agree with you and Cleo. I know I need to take a break. I do, but I can't do it myself. I can't just get on a plane like a normal person and go. Right now, that is far more terrifying to me than letting a stranger abduct me. I don't want to go where there are people and I still have to be on. I just want to go somewhere quiet and safe and dark. I just want to disappear from the world for a while, but they're going to have to force it on me, I guess. With a gentle smile, Grace cupped Kay's cheek. Got it. Abduction, seduction, fantasy, vacation it is. How about you take that off and pack it? I want to drop your suitcase off on my way to the office. Without ceremony, Grace shoved the rest of the unfolded lingerie into the suitcase, flipping the lid closed with finality. Here, give me those papers. I promise I won't look at them anymore, but I've got to drop them off as well. Kay crinkled her nose at the incredibly thick packet of papers. I can't believe this is a service you can pay for. Grace fanned herself with the packet again. Hey, Nick's Fantasy Inc. is supposed to be the best at this kind of thing. I think it's exciting. Cleo tried it. Wait, what? Grace laughed. I know, right? Those 2 weeks she took off to go on her rejuvenation spa. She had an abduction fantasy? Yeah, that's why she even suggested it. They went hardcore too. Grabbed her in the park, blindfolded and gagged her, the whole 9 yards. She said it was the biggest thrill. If I hadn't married the world's most boring man, I think I'd talk him into doing this. They have couples packages too. Grace flipped to the back of the packet where a glossy page of advertisements had been attached to show her the other offerings. Kay shook her head, though she smiled politely. See, this isn't about violence for me. That sounds horrible. Grace shrugged. Hey, it's a fantasy. It's healthy. Heck, I might do this and just not tell Chris. Yeah, but how do you not change while talking? Chop, chop. And wear flats today. The last thing you want to do is break an ankle while being abducted. Grace finally exited the room and Kay slipped off what was now her favorite piece of lingerie. Changing into black leggings and a dark copper-colored sweater seemed almost mundane after her brief tour through sex goddess fashion. How do they not get arrested for doing this? I mean, if anyone should see us, I'll look like I'm actually being abducted, Kay called. I'm pretty sure that's why this is so important, Grace said from the hall. After a beat of silence, she said, I'm waving the contract at you. Kay rolled her eyes. Yeah, okay. Oh, most importantly, have you chosen a safe word? That earned a nose wrinkle. Safe word? She zipped up the suitcase, dragging it off the bed. Yeah, this page. They stressed to make sure you saw it and filled it out. You need to pick an abort word so that they know you want to stop, like banana or motorcycle cop. Something out of the ordinary which has like no sexual connotation. Kay snorted. Everything has a sexual connotation, especially banana and motorcycle cop. She paused as she pulled her luggage into the living room, catching her reflection in the mirror over the fireplace. I should wear a skirt. She bent to pull the leggings off, awkwardly hopping on one foot just as her cell phone rang. She attempted to hop over to the coffee table to retrieve it, only to have Grace once again block her path. Don't answer it. Get dressed. Grace shooed her away before snatching up the phone to hold it aloft, just out of Kay's reach. This time, however, Kay expected it and grabbed the phone, causing Grace to lose control of the packet of papers. They fluttered to the ground. Yes, Kay said as she managed to finally kick off the leggings. It's me, her assistant Zephyr answered. I'm right outside. Open the door. How did you get into the building? Kay asked as she hurried to the door, saying as much through the door as through the phone. I followed a delivery. The younger man flounced in, carrying Kay's leather briefcase. I'm 100% sure your doorman doesn't like me now. I thought he stopped to take in Kay's state of undress. Did you forget something? Chuckling, Kay shut the door. Everything. Talk to me, Zephyr. Just as her assistant opened his mouth to answer, Grace stood with the papers cradled in her arms. At the sight of each other, both Grace and Zephyr seemed to bristle. Grace? Zephyr said with cold politeness. What are you doing here? What is he doing here? This is slowing everything down, Grace complained, matching his formality with cattiness. She even popped one of her hips out to rest her hand upon. Zephyr pointedly directed his answer to Kay. Papers. Need a couple of fresh signatures. Trust me, this will be important later. She's naked, Grace exclaimed as if it were Zephyr's fault. Grace, come on, it's just Zephyr, Kay said, pushing through the argument to go change one last time. At least that's what she promised herself. Zephyr checked his cell phone as if bored. Nothing I haven't seen before. Did you bring the paperwork for signing over temporary, whatever it's called? Grace asked, placing herself between her sister's half-naked form and her decidedly male assistant. Chairmanship, Zephyr said dryly, pulling the papers out of his briefcase. Grace moved to take them, but he yanked them just out of her reach. He sidestepped neatly around her to hand them to Kay, now dressed in jeans instead of leggings. She decided the skirt was probably a bad idea if she was going to be thrown over her shoulder or into the back of a van. Right, the chairman papers, Grace said, as her calm voice contradicting the rage painted all over her face. Kay is the chair, Zephyr corrected. It's just called the chair when you're permanent, while you and Cleo will be chairwomen. Kay raised her eyebrows as she propped the papers on her thigh to sign them. Okay, no more meeting. You're officially on vacation, Grace said, snatching the sheaf of papers. Zephyr snatched his papers back. I got this. He threw a too chummy arm around Grace's shoulders. We've got this. Don't worry. Then his phone pinged again. He let go of Grace roughly and typed rapid fire with his thumbs. Cleo just landed. He took 2 steps forward and whispered at Kay. Did you approve this meeting with London Financial? I thought we were waiting on that until you got back. Kay moaned into her hand. No, it's fine. It's fine. I mean, if they're taking over for the month, let them handle this. Just bring the zoning forms to the meeting and fax them into London Financial beforehand. And the whole stack of paperwork next to my ficus too. They'll know what that's for. Zephyr followed her into the bedroom, completely oblivious to Grace's glare. Right, your ficus, Zephyr mused. It's a teeny tiny tree, Kay gestured with her hands, outlining the tree she could picture perfectly in her mind. It's right there in my office. How does everybody miss it? Her assistant shook his head and shrugged. Zephyr, you're killing me here. She threw her hands up into the air with exasperation. He raised his own hands in surrender. I will find it. And if I need anything else, I'll just forge your signature.